All right, today we're jumping into a project called A Mason's Work. The big idea here is taking the ancient symbols of Freemasonry and turning them into a really practical, hands-on guide for building a better life.
You know that feeling, right? Like you have all this potential. You want to live a life that really means something. But the old maps, the frameworks that used to show people the way to become a capable, solid adult, they just don't seem to be there anymore. So let's dive into what the source material calls the missing scaffolding. This is really the core problem that this whole system is trying to solve.
I mean, think about it. For most of history, growing up wasn't a solo mission. It was propped up by this whole network of support. You had apprenticeships that taught you more than just a skill. They taught you discipline, character. You had communities that gave you mentors and kept you accountable. A lot of that has faded, leaving so many of us to just figure it all out on our own.
And of course, nature abhors a vacuum. So into that empty space, we've got these modern substitutes. Instead of deep internal transformation, we get lifestyle signaling on social media. Instead of the hard work of building character, we get a kind of consumerized self-help. And real, stable mentorship, that often gets replaced by algorithms that are, more interested in keeping you scrolling than in your actual well-being.
Okay, so if the old maps are gone and the new ones are kind of sketchy, where do you even begin to look for a reliable guide? Well, this explainer is all about an ancient blueprint that offers a really structured solution for today's world.
And let's be clear, the focus here isn't on secret handshakes or obscure rituals, not at all. A Mason's Work reframes the whole thing as a system, a kind of forgotten container that's designed to help you figure out your purpose and then build the character to achieve it, all through a repeatable process.
And this right here is the absolute key. It's a shift from just thinking about ideas, what's called speculative masonry, to an operative method. It's the difference between admiring a blueprint and actually picking up the tools to build the house. It's about turning metaphors into a method.
So how in the world does that actually happen? How do you take something symbolic, like a square or a compass, and turn it into a real, concrete process you can use in your daily life? Let's get into it.
At its very core, the system is all about closing that gap between what you know and what you do, right? It's one thing to understand a principle like integrity in your head. It's a whole other thing to have a practical method for actually living with integrity in your day-to-day decisions and relationships.
And this is the engine that drives the whole process, the ARRAC sequence. It's a super practical 4-step cycle for turning an idea into real-world change. First, awareness, seeing the issue. Then reflection, thinking about what it means. Followed by analysis, weighing your options. And finally, the most important step, action, actually doing something about it.
Okay, now we get to the really cool part, the toolkit. The system basically organizes all these Masonic symbols into a library of tools you can pull out to deal with specific challenges in your life.
And just look at how comprehensive this is. You got categories for the roles you need to play in life, the tools for how to act, modes of understanding for how to think, all the way down to foundations, the basic truths you build on. It's a complete system for working on yourself.
To make this less abstract, let's zoom in on one specific example. From that roles category, let's pull out the tool of the secretary. And no, this isn't just about taking notes in a meeting. It's a powerful mental tool.
This is the key question that the secretary role prompts you to ask. It is so powerful because it forces you to separate the objective facts of a situation from the emotional story you've wrapped around it.
So, using the secretary tool means you're training yourself to be an honest record keeper of your own life. You're learning to see your actions and their consequences clearly without your ego getting in the way and distorting things, so you can actually learn from what happened.
So you have this really rich system, all these different tools. But what's the point? What's the end game? What is all of this work supposed to produce?
And this is so important. The goal is not just self-improvement for its own sake. The source material makes it crystal clear that all this internal work, all this character building is ultimately about your external impact. It's about becoming a more capable, more ethical, more reliable person for your family, your community, and for the world around you.
There's a line from the material that just captures the goal of this system perfectly. Its relevance isn't in its secrets, but in its ability to help shape people who live their lives with real clarity, unwavering integrity, and genuine compassion.
And that brings us to the end. Whether you ever look into this particular system or not, it leaves us all with a pretty fundamental question to think about. What tools are you using to build the life you truly want to live?